My husband's best man confessed something during his wedding speech that made me file for divorce the next morning. The reception was perfect. White roses, string quartet, champagne flowing like water. My dress cost more than most people's cars. David looked handsome in his custom tux, beaming as his college friends took turns at the microphone. Then Marcus stood up. Marcus had been David's roommate for 4 years at Princeton. I'd heard countless stories about their adventures, spring break trips, fraternity pranks, late-night philosophy debates. He was supposed to be David's best man originally, but David chose his brother instead. Something about family obligations. I've known David for 15 years, Marcus began, his voice slightly slurred, and I've watched him become the man he is today. The crowd smiled politely. Standard best man material. David always gets what he wants, Marcus continued, raising his glass. He's determined, focused. Some might say obsessive. My stomach twisted. Something in his tone felt wrong. Take Sarah, for example. He gestured toward me. David saw her at that coffee shop 3 years ago and told me he was going to marry her. I said, dude, you don't even know her name. But David researched everything. Found out where she worked, what gym she went to, her favorite bookstore. The room grew quiet. This wasn't typical wedding speech territory. He started showing up at all her regular spots. Made it seem like coincidence when they finally met. Even befriended her roommate to get invited to that party where they had their first real conversation. My blood ran cold. I remembered that party. David had seemed so charming, so interested in my thoughts on literature. We talked for hours about books I'd mentioned loving to my roommate just days before. Sarah probably thinks it was fate. Marcus laughed bitterly. But David had been planning every interaction for months. He even broke up with his girlfriend Jessica specifically to pursue Sarah. Poor Jessica never knew why he suddenly became distant. The microphone squeaked as Marcus swayed slightly. And the proposal. Sarah, you thought it was spontaneous when he proposed at your grandmother's grave, right? So romantic, so meaningful? I couldn't breathe. That proposal had meant everything to me. My grandmother raised me after my parents died. David said he wanted to include her memory in our new beginning. David spent weeks interrogating your aunt about your grandmother's favorite flowers, her favorite poems. He practiced that speech 50 times. I heard it so many times I memorized it myself. The room was dead silent now. My wedding guests stared at Marcus in horror, but he wasn't finished. David told me marriage was just the next phase of his project. He said Sarah was almost perfect, but needed some adjustments. He's been keeping a list of things to change about her after the honeymoon. I looked at David. His face was white, jaw clenched, not denial, panic. Marcus, David said sharply. That's enough. No, it's not enough. Marcus exploded. I've watched you manipulate her for 3 years. I've listened to you brag about how easy it was to mold her into your perfect woman. You don't love Sarah. You love the idea of owning her. The microphone dropped from Marcus's hand with a screech of feedback. I stood up slowly, my $3,000 dress rustling in the silence. David, I said quietly, is this true? He looked at me with those blue eyes I'd fallen in love with. Sarah, he's drunk. He's jealous because, is it true? I repeated. The pause told me everything. I walked out of my own reception in my wedding dress, past 200 shocked guests, past my sobbing mother, past the photographer still clicking away. I drove to my lawyer's house at midnight, still in my gown. I need to file for divorce, I told him through his doorway. Tomorrow morning. Sarah, he said gently, you just got married 8 hours ago. No, I replied. I just found out I never really got married at all. The annulment was finalized 6 weeks later. Irreconcilable differences stemming from fraud. Marcus called me once to apologize. I thanked him instead. Why did you tell me? I asked. Because you deserve to know who you were really marrying, he said. Even if it cost me my best friend. A year later, I met someone at a bookstore. We started talking about a novel I just picked up. No research, no planning, no manipulation. Just 2 people discovering they liked each other. When he proposed, it was clumsy and unexpected. He forgot the ring and stammered through his words. It was perfect.